Pope Francis died on Easter Monday, April 21st, which means that there is going to be a new pope. And I am fascinated with the process of picking a pope and the politics of picking a pope. So, I went through and I'm going to explain exactly how it happens because it is really, really intricate and really, really interesting. All right, so let's start here. The people who will pick the Pope are known as the College of Cardinals. These are people, very high-ranking officials in the church. There are currently 252 members of the College of Cardinals, but only 135 will be papal electors. One note there, why the difference: you can't be part of the papal electorate if you're 80 years of age or older, which would be a good lesson for American politicians to learn, since our current president is 78 and will be 82 at the end of his term, and our last president, the guy he replaced, was 82 when he decided not to run again. Okay, so what will happen after the funeral of Pope Francis is that there will be a series of meetings. These are called general congregations, a series of meetings amongst the College of Cardinals, where they'll sort of talk about the sort of state of the church and what the church is doing well, what the church is not doing well, what the church needs, right? This is kind of it's like a pre-interview in a lot of ways, sort of talking to people who might be good, how will they address it? It's broadly formalized, but not nearly as formal as what I'm about to get into. So usually about 2 weeks, 15 to 20 days after the Pope's death, after there's a vacancy declared in the papacy, the conclave meets. Now, the conclave is this 135 papal electors. Conclave, by the way, comes from the Latin meaning with key. I took Latin even all the way to college, and all that means is that it's a secret process, right? Okay, so the papal conclave, like many things, started because there was a problem. So in 1268, the papacy was vacant. The College of Cardinals, there was no conclave. There was no, you're going to be in this room and we're not letting you out until you pick a pope. They just kind of debated about who the pope should be. It took them almost 3 years, 2 years and 9 months to pick the next pope. So the guy who was picked, which was Gregory X, he said, okay, going forward, we're going to have a conclave, which basically means we are going to take you electors, we are going to put you in a place, and we are basically not going to let you out. Well, we're going to give you bread and water, but we're not going to let you, and food, but we're not going to let you out until you pick a pope, because we need a pope. We can't wait 2 years and 9 months for the next pope. Okay, now before I get into exactly how this conclave process works, and it's totally fascinating, trust me, I want to make a pitch to you. I am an independent news creator. I need your support to continue to do what I do. And what is it that I do? I am mostly in the political space, although I'll occasionally jump over to papal politics, but mostly in the American politics space. I am calling balls and strikes, no matter what uniform the batter at the plate is wearing, which means I am independent. I'm not tied to any big corporation. I'm not tied to a billionaire. I don't have any bosses except me and my wife. And I'm independent in the sense that I'm not right, I'm not left. I'm not going to always tell you what you want to hear, but I'm always, I pledge this to you, going to tell you what I think you need to hear based on my decades working for legacy media, worked at CNN and the Washington Post most recently, as well as my sort of sense of what's going on, my reporting, etc., etc. That's my pledge to you. I really hope you become a subscriber today. It's free. Just hit that subscribe button. Okay, so the conclave, which is 135 cardinals, pick the pope. How does this work? Okay, first of all, they go to a place called the Domus Sancti Marthae, which is a hotel-ish place, a residence, effectively, that is connected to St. Peter's Basilica. They stay there until a pope is picked. Now, the actual voting happens at the Sistine Chapel. It is a paper ballot. They process to the Sistine Chapel. They are sworn a vow of secrecy. The doors are locked and closed. and anyone who's not a member of the College Cardinals is asked to leave. Kindly leave. And then they are given this paper ballot. Now, they process up by a Michelangelo fresco, amazing, to put it in a sort of chalice, a big chalice, their paper ballot that's folded twice. All right. At most, you can have 4 ballots in a day. So you can vote 4 times. What a candidate for the papacy needs is 2/3 of the 135 voting members to write his name down. If no one in a day, no one in 4 rounds of voting gets that 2/3 majority, they take the ballots, they take it to a chimney near the Vatican, and they burn it along with unknown chemicals that make the smoke that comes out of the chimney black. So if you're in St. Peter's Square looking at this, or you're a reporter trying to figure out whether there's a new pope, and you see black smoke, it means no new pope that day. Okay? Now, when a candidate gets 2/3 of the vote, they again burn the ballots, but they put a different chemical. Again, no one knows what the chemical is. I mean, this is totally fascinating stuff. No one knows what the chemical is, but there is white smoke that comes out of the chimney, and that's how you know a new pope has been chosen. That pope, in relatively quick order, then proceeds to a balcony that overlooks St. Peter's Square, and honestly, that's when people find out. It's not like you break the news like, new pope is fill in the blank, because they're sworn to secrecy. So the pope kind of processes to this balcony, people see him, and then we know there's a new pope, and reporters get to writing. All right, so how is this worked in the past? All right, so let's go back to the last papal conclave that chose Pope Francis. In 2013, March 2013, Pope Benedict resigned. Now, that in and of itself is fascinating. He was the first pope in 600 years to resign. But what that meant was there would be a papal conclave and one would be chosen. Now, there were 5 total ballots to pick Pope Francis. There were 4 ballots, obviously, that's the limit, on one day, and then 1 more ballot on that second day. The whole process took less than 24 hours, which made it one of the shortest papal conclaves ever. Now, the papal conclaves back in the day were much longer. Francis was the 266th person to be the pope. But they now are relatively short. The longest conclave in the 20th century, so from 1900 to 2000, was 5 days. So usually you can expect it 1 to 3-ish days. Here's something interesting. If the conclave lasts more than 12 or 13 days, you can move, the papal conclave can move to a simple majority vote. So you go from a 2/3 vote to a simple majority in an attempt to try to get consensus and to not have this process last for absolutely ever. So that is the process that will happen again, probably in a week and a half to 2 weeks from now in Rome, in Vatican City. 135 people, black smoke if it's not chosen, white smoke if the new pope is chosen, probably 1 to 3-ish days once the conclave officially gathers. I will be watching. Anyone who cares about politics, because the choosing of the next pope, and I may do another video on the potential contenders to be the next pope. A lot of tough to pronounce names. A lot of Italian. Got to work on my Italian. That is a whole other ball of wax in terms of the politics of how that happens, of who winds up being picked. Because I'll note, Pope Francis did not go into the 2013 conclave as the favorite, but he emerged, a day later as the pope. So stay tuned for that, but a fascinating process to pick a man who will lead more than 1 billion Catholics all over the world. What can you do to help me? You can subscribe, as I mentioned before. It's the easiest thing. It's the thing that helps me the most, grows my following. We're almost to 70,000 YouTube followers, subscribers. So please, if you can't subscribe. You can also comment and like this video. So you thumbs up the video, that helps me. You comment on the video, that helps me spread this video to more people who are not currently subscribers, but might get this video pushed to them if they're interested in this kind of content. Last thing you can do, tell a few friends about what I'm doing. Just say, hey, there's this guy, Chris Cillizza. He's doing some interesting stuff. I hope you check it out. I think you'd like it. Just give it a try. Again, it's well worth the price of admission because the price of admission or subscription is free. All right, everyone. Take care.